I started doing DoorDash 2 weeks ago. It's been paying good for the most part. I've had to get used to driving a lot and dealing with annoying levels of traffic, but it's better than my last job. Working retail really did a number on me being in the environment I was in. Although DoorDash has been good for me, what happened yesterday made things kind of weary for me to continue. It was another day doing DoorDash like any other, and I was dashing at 10 at night. I had got an order to go to Arby's, which I was glad about since the order wasn't that far away, and I paid well. I picked up the order, drove to the location, and went to the doorstep to knock on the door. The customer wanted for me to hand them the order, which wasn't something that I was used to, at least for the area I normally dash in. Most people want me to drop their orders off on the doorstep and leave. Never had a problem with that kind of delivery, to be honest, but this person wanted different. I knocked on the door and waited. I didn't hear any noise indicating that anyone was coming. I knocked again after waiting for about 3 minutes, and after that the door opened up in seconds. It was a man. He had a robust build and was tall. He had to be at least 7 feet tall, in fact. He had a long beard that ran down to his neck. He looked at me with a strange expression, like I wasn't supposed to be there. "What you want?" the man said with a raspy voice. I looked at him holding up the Arby's bag. "My bad, my friend must have ordered that. Let me go get him." The man stepped back and prompted me to enter. "Come inside. I have to go downstairs to get him." "It will be a while," the man insisted, but I wasn't walking in a stranger's house like that, especially considering the fact that the man was giving me sketchy vibes. "I'm good man," I replied to him. He shook his head as if disappointed and closed the door. After about 5 minutes, his friend came to the door and greeted me, handing me a tip and thanking me for bringing him the food. I thanked him for the tip and left. But something felt strange. As I walked off the porch, I looked back to see him and his friend with the beard staring at me as I left. I didn't know if they wanted something, so I asked them, was everything all right? The man with the beard said no. "You didn't come in the house when I said to." He said it with such an aggressive tone, like I did something wrong. I was so confused I just stood still for a while, then began walking back to my car a little faster now. As soon as I pressed the button on my key fob to open the door, the bearded man bolted towards me screaming like a maniac. He had what looked to be a knife, but I couldn't make it out all the way. I opened my door and struggled to start the car. The man began elbowing my window until it shattered. I pressed the gas pedal and got the hell out of that sketchy area. I should have canceled the order the first time I saw the house. It was sketchy from the first time I laid eyes upon it. I reported the incident to DoorDash, and the situation is being investigated. Don't let this story scare you from doing DoorDash. Everything that I'm about to relay to you was my fault. DoorDash is a very good side gig for me. I make decent money on the side on weekends, and I enjoy the night drives. It was a Saturday night, and things were busy and booming. I was doing order after order and making decent money. After a while, I got an order to get some pizza. The neighborhood that I got the order from was one I was familiar with. It doesn't really have the best reputation, but I still took the order anyway. That was my first mistake. I had told myself that I would never take an order from that area, but I decided to do it. Once again, that was my first mistake. I went and got the order and began my drive to the neighborhood. On my way there, I was constantly getting reasons to not go, but I still went. Once I entered the neighborhood, all the streetlights were off. And I do mean every single one. If my headlights were messed up, I wouldn't be able to see at all. It was nearly impossible for me to see what house it was since the lights were off, and of course I couldn't really aim my headlights at any of the houses. I stopped my car on the side of the road next to a house and began walking around trying to find the house. I at least could see that the house was somewhere in my vicinity because of the app, but it still was difficult. I got out and walked around searching for the house, my phone flashlight aimed at every house looking for the right address. I began to hear weird noises in the distance. It sounded like someone was moving in the bushes. I quickly moved the flashlight to the nearest location of the sound. To my shock, there was what looked to be a naked man crouched over on all fours. His face was strange looking, though. It looked like he didn't have a mouth, and his eyes were glowing. I dropped the pizza and ran back to my car. I could hear the man chasing me, though it sounded like the steps were still all fours instead of the person running upright. I got in my car and drove off. As I looked back, I could see the glowing eyes in my rear view. They were red and menacing. The customer called me a little later and was screaming about their order. I told them what happened from the streetlights and the man chasing me, but they weren't trying to hear it. I just hung up in their face and didn't care anymore. If DoorDash fired me for it, I would just tell them what happened and the outcome would just be the outcome. I still haven't gotten reprimanded for it, so I guess everything is cool. I later found out that the thing I could have encountered might have been called a rake. Apparently, it's some creepypasta creature, and after second thought it really did look like one. From the all-fours position to the red glowing eyes, it definitely matched the description. Now for sure I will never dash in that neighborhood again.